One more race to go before we gear things up for the final chase for the Cup. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Thursday Night Action and to the Speed Cup Series on Green Flag TV. My name is Ola Rambo, bringing you all the action this afternoon alongside Scott Rankin, who will be joining us a few minutes late this afternoon. But he will no doubt be here and with us before long. Right now, 90 laps of racing action about to kick off from the Lone Star State here at beautiful Texas Motor Speedway. This, of course, the final race in the regular series season. After tonight, the top 10 in the points going to be locked out, and we will be in a 10-car shootout for the final 5 weeks to determine who will become the champion of Season 4 of Speed Cup Series action. We'll go into those points now, figure out who's in and who still needs a little bit of work ahead of themselves. Ethan Amberg right now locked in on points. So is Ryan Shelton, Cosman Inoshu, Christopher Darling, Justin Mello, Drew Eisman, and Jeremiah Vincent. Dalton Powell and Martin Plout not mathematically secure, but they are both relatively safe, barring anything major going on this afternoon. Who is not safe, though? Minazzi Major, only 10 points ahead of Jason Gracias, and only 2 behind Gracias is Kyle Holden. It's really a three-way fight for the top spot. Philip Scott, Kevin Desnoyers, Nicholas Coate, and Tim Branson can all mathematically get in this afternoon, but if they were to do so, boy, they would need a lot of luck ahead of them if they were to have themselves in with a good shot to get into the chase this afternoon. That said, 34 cars getting set to qualify this afternoon. It is a stacked grid, the biggest field that we've had in a few weeks here for the Speed Cup Series, and that is going to, I think, lead to a whole big shakeup in of itself. We're going to get to all of that, though. First, we're going to give a shout out to those who keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series. Season 4 is brought to you by Highline Diecast Collectibles, your go-to source for high-quality NASCAR diecasts and memorabilia. Whether you're hunting for the latest releases, rare finds, or looking to sell your own collection, they've got you covered. Plus, don't miss their live auctions every week on Facebook, where you can score incredible deals on must-have collectibles. Check them out and follow along at facebook.com/HLD Collectibles, where passion for racing meets collectible perfection. And by Brooksland Animal Hospital. Brooksland Animal Hospital is a AAHA full accredited service veterinary, medical, boarding, and grooming facility serving Metro Atlanta, with a mission to provide modern and up-to-date medicine while also tailoring care to the health and well-being of all animals. Visit brookstonevet.com to schedule your appointment today. Other sponsors include Beer Street Journal, Twisted Steel Stink Appeal, Sim Rat Market, and Race Rat Guy. So qualifying very much underway this afternoon as drivers look to battle it out for whatever spots they got left up for grabs here this afternoon. 2 minutes remain in that final this qualifying session, as we'll look to see who's going to end up being where. It is going to, I think, be a bit of a wild show this afternoon. Right now, Zach Williams working his second lap of this qualifying session. He did not manage to get a lap in on his first attempt. Jason Gracias, meanwhile, goes up to the number 13 position, while Zach Williams working his way out of the final corner, this time by coming down to it at the stripe. A time of over 30 seconds. It's going to be a 31.343. And that will only get him into 29th on the boards. Meanwhile, Garrett Austin working his way out of the final corner, trying to best the 31.5. He's going to do that by 0.6 of a second, and that's going to put him up into 24th. Make that 20th for Garrett Austin. So Austin going to break himself up into the top 20. Colton Easterday right now 25th. He's going to crash hard into the inside wall on his final lap, and that will spell an end to Colton Easterday's qualifying, and in fact that will spell an end to the qualifying of everybody here this afternoon. So I think we are just about ready to get a move on here this afternoon, and boy, oh boy, what a race it is going to be this afternoon. And Scott, you just joined us for the final 30 seconds of qualifying. Starting grid coming at us in a few seconds, and with 34 cars, over 34 cars, holy cow, we're up to about, oh my gosh, we're up to 39. This is going to be wild.
Yeah, there's going to be a big one, and the big thing about Texas is it's about settling into the groove, moving your way around, make sure that you can get fresh air to the nose of that car. The car turns down the banking, how you balance the car back up and out. It's going to be loose. It's a very hot racetrack as well. I did actually get the opportunity to watch Cosman Inoshu set his second lap, and he looks strong. moved his way all the way up very, very late in the session. I think it was about a minute left to go on the session, said it was 36.25. So Malillo's going to stick it on pole, and that's a phenomenal lap from him. But yeah, it was really good to see I Know Shoe straight to P2.
And that is going to take us to the end of qualifying, and we are ready to get a move on here. This is the starting grid coming at you with 37 cars on the grid. Started on pole this afternoon, it is going to be Justin Melillo for FTF Racing alongside his teammate Cosmo I Know Shoe with the Tiltify Camry. Moving back to the number 2 spot, it's going to be Nicholas Coate and Kyle Holden on that second row. Row 3 then, going to be holding the likes here of Stefan Gibson and Ethan Amberg. And that will leave Ryan Shelton back in 7th, Walter Powell in 8th. Philip Scott going to be bringing it up in 9th with one Christopher Darling to close out the top 10.
Outside of the 10, Jeremiah Vincent and Manazzi Major are going to be 11th and 12th on the timing sheet. In behind those guys, 13 and 14, Austin Hable from Jason Gracias. Look for him to continue to move his way forward as he normally does. Drew Eisenman from Jeremy Richmond are going to make up 15th and 16th. Good to see Jeremy Richmond back. It's been a while since I've seen him in operation across multiple different leagues, but good to see him out there. Joey Barrett from Nate Cantilla, 17th and 18th. Rounding out your 20, 19th and 20th, Jason Shue and Garrett Austin.
Back into the second half of the field by now. 21st place on row 11 is going to be the Indiana native of Jeffrey Goodpaster alongside Caleb Bass making his first start for the Mobil 1 Camaro this afternoon. He rolls out from 22nd, 4/10ths off the pace. From there, it's race wrap guy motorsports driver Stan Hausman alongside Wesley Dunphy out of Ohio in the Brookside Animal Hospital 156. Moving back to 25th on the grid, Colton Easterday, also out of Indiana, alongside the Jordan's Camry of Ben Mashburn. 27th to 28th, going to be Dave Harrington out of Pennsylvania, alongside the Crown Royal Mustang of Sedarius Days. And that brings us up to 29th and 30, where it's Golden Octopus Motorsports driver Ryan Newman alongside Arabia Caton out of the Atlantic States.
Moving back to our final few drivers on the field, it's going to be Zach Williams from Terrell Wheeler, 31.343. The second last driver, sorry, that was the last two drivers to set qualifying times. From here on back, it is going to be the drivers who failed to set a time. Chris Sawyer from Devon Pirog. We're going to see Martin Plute from Tim Branson, rounding out 34th and 35th. Final row of the grid, Jeffrey Reed and Chris Sawyer, 37 cars to make their racing debut, and that looks like a car starting from pit lane. We've also had another car fail to roll off of the lane as well.
So Kyle Holden was given an end of the longest line penalty, and that is Bass, who is starting his race from pit road this afternoon. So the rookie probably wanted to just make sure he doesn't cause too much dramas here in this one, as you see the field now working their way down the back straightaway. I'm excited for this race. I mean, 90 laps, it's a championship critical race, and the biggest field we've seen in weeks here for the Speed Cup Series. I don't know what's caused the explosion, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, heck yeah, 37 cars. Here we go. We're about to go racing as well. Look at the competition that's going to be up at the front. Look at how close it was. Multiple separate driver pairings. 7th and 8th, Ryan Shelton, Dalton Powell, same lap time in qualifying. Phil Scott, Christopher Darling, 9th and 10th. Identical lap time for those guys in qualifying. Nothing separates half the field. Nolan, it's time to say those famous words. You rattle them off here, bud.
Field going to work its way into turn numbers 3 and 4. We're happy you're joining us for racing action here on this beautiful Thursday night. One more race of the regular series season. It's go, go, go from Fort Worth.
Good launch from the cars in the outside lane. I know she got through the gears nice and well. Have a look at the back end of the field, still firing their way off down to the turn 1. Look at one car already up and ripping it by the fence. Boy, that was high. Through 1 and 2, just barely manages to sail the fence off of turn 2.
All the way down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. The field in lockstep as we get out of the final corner. It's going to be Justin Melillo leading lap number 1 to green, while everybody else is tucked up in line just behind. So the race is on, and we're double file in the turns 1 and 2 for the second time tonight.
I can tell you Drew Eisenman's already up a number of spots. He's the first driver that's going to dive to the outside looking for fresh air on the nose. A little bit of a checkup on the front straight just in front of him on the inside row. So he looked to make advantage where he possibly could. Now a touch too wide as well. Keep your eyes a little bit further forward in the pack, and at the moment you can just see Malillo's got the run. Here comes Nick Coate for second.
Nicholas Coe to the inside, goes to the number 2 spot, while Justin Mello resets the fastest lap of the race already, setting 3 quick laps back to back to back to kick off this race. And now we'll see if anybody can challenge that quick time on the day. He is up by 6.5 tenths over Nicholas Coe, who has gotten his way into the number 2 spot, while everybody else, I think, very much in lockstep. The only driver right now that is not within a quarter of a second of the guy around him is this guy back here who started his race from pit road.
Unfortunately for Caleb Bass, that's the car that we were seeing that was on pit lane. Carl Holden, in the meantime, has fought his way from 33rd up to inside of the 20s. Remember, he's been quick the last few weeks as well, so he's been starting to put some runs together and challenge drivers much closer to the front end of the field. Interesting just to see there's a few drivers I'm just sort of keeping half an eye on that are probably a little bit further down than necessarily they'd like to be.
Of course, Minazzi Major right now, one of the big contenders that needs to have a good day. He only has a 10-point deficit, and 10 points when it's 1 point per position, that sounds like a lot, but when you got 34 cars racing at you, you need to have a good day. He cannot afford any slip-ups, and you can tell he is trying to get security as he has fought his way back into the top 10.
And Minazzi Major sits in 10th spot at the moment, so something definitely needs to happen. Chrysius' qualifying, we talked about it, wasn't all that great, but right now sits directly on the bumper of his rival, so that's the critical factor. He hasn't let Minazzi Major run away from him. The problem is, if it all sits currently is, he's going to need to win to get his way in. Oh boy, and in fact, he's going to get contact. It was Garrett Austin that got into his rear.
Jason Garcia's washing up the racetrack there, the number 1. He's going to go tumbling down the field. So a bit of an inopportune moment there for the driver of this number 1 car. He's able to get him back underneath him at least, so he might drop back behind the 98 car here for another spot. But outside of that, looking like he's been able to get away with that relatively clean. That could have been a big moment, though, to kick off this race.
Yeah, and now he's slid those tires, so they are overheated as well. I think it might have been Jeremiah Vincent. In fact, it was the 8 car that he actually made contact with. So, unfortunate for Garcias, but again, the thing is, in these races, I was talking a lot about it yesterday. I was talking about a race at Bristol and ran very similarly to the Speed Cup Series race at Bristol a few weeks ago as well. And one of the biggest things is you've only got in front of you what you've got in front of you. You know what pace you've got, and you know what your ability to tire save is. You've got 2 options. You can either lean into those tools, or you can try and learn a new skill. Learning a new skill late after practice is very difficult to do. That's what all the preparation's for. So for Garcias, all he can do at the moment is go, right, well, I've got hot tires. We're actually going to get a car hard on the barriers in the front straight. So it will be the 98 machine with Jeremy Richmond. That might not be a caution because the car is still straight, but the right front tire is off that car and his day will be done.
Looking like he was not the only one that's had problems there. Wesley Dunphy and Stan Housen both showing as having been off the racetrack as well. Let's take a look back here and see if we can't put together what happened for Jeremy Richmond, as this is coming off of turn numbers 3 and 4. See us behind, and he lost that by himself. Oh boy!
It spat right as he come back onto the track as well.
What a brutal impact into the outside wall there, as Richmond going to be forced into pit road as a result of that crash. So Richmond's day coming to an unfortunate end this afternoon. Already lap 10 of 90 working around this racetrack, and it's kind of hard to believe we're already like a ninth of the way through this race. These laps tick by quick when we're under green on a low lap count like this.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very rapid race. This is going to tick by probably about 45 minutes if it goes green or so. So this one's going to run by in the blink of an eye. Talk a little bit about tyres that are available here tonight. 4 sets of tyres total. Caution to fly anytime about now. That's probably early enough to come to the pit lane. There would be some tyre fall off. The guys at the back end of the field that don't have any track position, they take the opportunity to take a free stop. Guys at the front probably would look to maintain the track position. So that's 4 sets, including the set they started on. So it'll be 3 behind the wall. And that lap count they're going to be looking for somewhere around the 22.5 mark. So 22 to 23 laps is what they're looking for. Everyone will pit about then.
Still quite a few side-by-side battles going on back here a little bit deeper in the field. Martin Plute nearly got to the back of Jeffrey Goodpace. They're coming down to the turn numbers 3 and 4 as well. Tires in Texas, though, you pointed out, right? They are always so critical to a race at a track like this. Very high tire deck, especially in turns 1 and 2 this afternoon. And we haven't really had the chance to talk about the weather much today, but I can promise you that 127-degree Fahrenheit track temp not doing this field any favors right now.
No, you're talking about high deg. Yeah, the track is high deg, and then you add that in, it's very, very high deg.
Oh.
The tricky part is, car is exceptionally loose as it comes off a 3 and 4, so you got to balance it out. And the biggest thing is, when you got a loose car, is you actually need to use less steering wheel input, less throttle input. That's the best way to balance that car out and preserve that right rear tire. I do get the feeling 1 and 2 is going to be right front, 3 and 4 is going to be right rear in terms of deg and the way that you drive the car. But if you've got a car that's ailing a little bit more at one end of the racetrack, you'll drive it around that at both ends of the racetrack and try and preserve the opposite end of the car as well.
On board with Benazzi Major as he tries to continue to put down laps this afternoon. Jeremiah Vincent, though, looking like Vincent might have just had a bit of a close moment. And in fact, Jeremy Richmond has cleared his meatball flag, but I think Jeremy Vincent may have just caught a little bit of that infield grass.
Well, update on Jeremy Richmond has not cleared the meatball flag. He is done for the day. That is what's going on there. Yeah. So, regardless, remember Gracias went for that big slide a little bit earlier on, so he's the critical car we're sort of keeping an eye on. Now, Martin Plute and Dalton Powell are mathematically in contention to fall outside of the drop zone. Dalton Powell's up inside the 10, so he's having a reasonable day, and Martin Plute is not having a reasonable day. First caution flag of the night is out.
And this one looks like it might be a result of the 478 potentially. That or not for Dalton Powell, certainly, but looking like potentially Caleb Ace here.
Yeah, indeed it was, and the reason for that is he had an exceptionally loose car through 1 and 2, and then I think he slowed down and pulled off the racetrack. He did save it. The plan for him was to get to pit road, but pace car, the flag system detected a slow car in the bottom of the racetrack near the racing surface.
You know what? This could be that randomized yellow flag as well that the Speed Cup Series does have employed. We saw it actually come up It doesn't come up often, right? But it does come up every now and again. The last time it came up was a few weeks ago. There's always a chance for a randomized yellow at some point throughout the race. We're not told what the numbers are, but this could very well be that, throwing a bit of a wrench into the works.
Here's the thing, Nolan. I'm not safe with that information. Nobody ever tell me a random safety car number. I will give that information away. Don't trust me with that.
Well, this will bring the entire field into pit road. This effectively may as well be a stage caution.
Well, I mean, remember how we were talking, the critical number that we were talking in terms of tires and the fall off and when to come was about lap 22. We're 4 laps shy of that. So a little early, but perfectly on that window. I think this is also, this is to get a fuel pit stop out of the way. 80% in terms of the fuel tonight, so I think it was going to be a 2-stop race just. As in, I think the maximum distance you could go on fuel is about 38 laps on an 80% tank. That's rough math. Don't trust those figures, but it's somewhere in the high 30s to very low 40s. The problem is, if you're going to make 45 laps, you go 45, 45, and get to 90, that would get you home, but that's a touch too far to go on this one. I think we've got a few drivers that didn't take tires here, Nolan. Or maybe took rights only.
So I can actually tell you the exact number of drivers that didn't take tires. It is only one driver, and it's the one that's up 12 spots right now and into the race lead, Jason Garcias. Everybody else is into the pits.
He's in a hole. And well, I would also say Nicholas Cote, maybe. The other thing is potentially a slow stop for Malillo, because he lost the race lead on pit road right there, and he had the number 1 stall. So that's very difficult to do, which says to me Nick Coates done something to get spots, but I don't think it was a clean stop for Malillo.
I don't think it was either. 15.1 seconds in the box, 14.1 for Cote. I mean, the numbers add up.
And Gracias just said this was not intentional.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I think he's in trouble a little bit here, you know?
Yeah, he said that. He said, go easy on me, boys. Please look after me. I am aware that I am on old tires. I did not intend for it to be that. Was effective the message. Mason Schu's going to come back to pit lane at the tail end of the field.
Yeah, 4.3 seconds. Just topping up on the fuel numbers, it looks like there. Maybe trying to play a fuel game here?
That would mean... So effectively, we're going to go back to green here with 71 to go, which means the fuel number's about 35 laps. So if they can make 36, that's the thing. He's looking to just make sure he can press on.
So right now, Jason Gracias leads the way. And expected him to pretty much depart for the lead. I would say effective immediately, just about. He's definitely going to be faded towards the tail of the field. And that's why he picked the outside line here in preparation of that, I feel.
Yeah, the difficulty with that is the racing line off of 1 and 2 is right at the top. So it's all going to bleed back to him, and somebody's going to get into a position whereby they're going to get squeezed. Either way, restart zone. Here we go.
Early jump there from the MGR #1 Camry as he takes off. Ethan Amber going to pull clear around the top side as well. And man, Nicholas Cote did not get going down low.
Yeah, so now he's got the problem of trying to drop back in and find where he can go. Ethan Amberg wraps in from the top. Malillo's going to be harassing him as well. Also didn't find grip. I'll tell you what, Gracias with the clear air out in front, that's actually really helped him. He's going to survive with the lead down to 3 and 4. Definitely wasn't expecting that to be the case. The problem is, remember, he's on old tires now, but the rest of the field are on cold tires. Malillo builds the run off of 4.
Malillo going to build the run. And Ethan Amber to the inside of Gracias takes that one down in the turn numbers 1 and 2. But here comes Malillo, 3 wide up the middle for the race lane. But Amberg is going to pull clear from down low. Not quite the multi-groove nature that we're used to seeing at other mile and a half, but he can quickly turn outside to inside momentum. And Malillo to the bottom side. He takes the lead right back in 3.
Yeah, swaps it back, goes ahead, steals that one back. Ethan Amberg might be thinking a little bit of fuel numbers. This might not be one of those races you necessarily want to lead. If it is tight on fuel, these first 5 to 10 laps, they are going to be critical, because after that, the fall off is going to cover it off quite a long way. The other thing is, though, tire wear. You want that fresh air to the nose. Here comes Christopher Darling to the bottom.
Christopher Darling to the inside of Ethan Amber, trying to make a lunge here down the inside of the Ghost Sim Racing number 14. And he's going to maintain that run off of the top side of turn numbers 3 and 4. So a solid outing overall for him. Boy, oh boy, what a race we are having this afternoon. Awesome stuff so far for the top runners. Lap 23 at 90 and still a lot of race left.
Not wrong. Darling's going to pick that spot off. Amberg's looking to try and slot his way in, and Ryan Shelton says, no, sir. I'm going to poke my nose in here and just be ever present. So Amberg's going from being on the front row to falling a little bit like a rock. He just can't get on the rhythm. The thing is, all it takes is just one opportunity to set himself back into that bottom groove, and he will be fine. Nicholas Cote might cut in the brake. Although I think Cote, somebody's fuel saving, that's a cut very high.
And as Ben Mashburn way up the track in turn 1. He's along the outside of Martin Plutic, gets the door, slammed on him by Nate Cotilla, who was clear. Credit to him. He made that move, he cleared up, and Mashburn gave him a bit of a shot to the shorts. I don't think appreciated having his nose chopped like that coming out of turn 2.
All loose, very loose though from the number 5 machine. Nate Cotilla had to bail on the gas. That's going to check Pluto up underneath it. And now Mashburn might finally clear. Have a look at the car that's just in front of them, though. Gracias has fallen to 14th. Might become 15th and further back. He's hanging onto a loose race car as well.
A solid drive so far. Now looking for 3 wide. Down the back straightaway into turn number 3. They're going to quickly get it back down out to double. This is the fight for 15th on back right now. And you think we're fighting for the top spots with how aggressively these guys are duking it out. Still showing that no matter where you're at, you can race just as aggressively for spots in the midfield.
That's it. Jeffrey Goodpace is going to get involved in this one. I think it's Joey Barrett who's going all the way to the wide. Are they 4 wide? I don't quite think so. They're definitely and slams the door.
That was a brave move to shut the door like that on Sedarius Days. Thought for sure we were about to see somebody being turned hard into the outside wall, but they keep it together. And 3 wide again, coming off the 4. Man, Garcia's is falling like a stone.
I mean, we expected that, didn't we, though? But if he can cut himself a break. The difficulty for Garcias is that he's stuck in this fuel window. He's literally stuck in doing whatever the rest of the field does. It actually might have been the best decision.
Oh!
5-6. Wesley Dunfree manages to catch it. No, he doesn't have Mario. This might be the second caution.
Oh, look out, is sliding down the racetrack. Somehow the yellow flag will not fly. No idea how, but a great job on everybody to get around. That was some serious heads-up driving they had to do.
Wow, they all got through, though. I cannot believe that wasn't a caution. That should have been one. At the end of the week. Yeah. Wow.
iRacing dropped the ball big time with that one. There's no reason why that should not have been a yellow.
I'm just double checking that it's not over on manual cautions, because that should have.
Wesley Dunphy is into pit road this time as a result of that incident. You take a look back, and I want to get right on board with Colton Easterday, who was right behind this incident when it began. And, we might be able to get a look on it here. Let's give it a try. Nope, we will not. Easterday was ahead of the wreck. So, nope, not sure who it was that just barely juked around him on the inside. But, I tell you what, these guys, when they want to go, they will go. And that's going to leave us to yet another car down and out of this race early on, as Wesley Dunphy is stuck in pit road.
Now we're just waiting on I think we're just waiting at the moment just for this race to develop a little bit. Chris Darling cuts his way back through to second. Have a look at Ethan Amberg as well, as he's gotten back to third. So he went into a little bit of tyre conservation, perhaps a fuel conservation run as well. Malello's just gone. He has now broken that draft out in the lead. Nick Coates starting to resurge as well. So if there was a fuel question mark, I think the fuel question mark was relatively minor, and these guys are now starting to ramp the pace back up because they've hit the numbers that they needed to hit.
That would make sense to me, right? So we'll see if Nicholas Coe, the driver that started this race in third, could potentially come out here and retake that run. It'd be a good move for him if he could get up there and make that move happen. While the rest of the field remains in lockstep. And oh boy, Christopher Darley being pushed out by Ethan Amber.
Well, it's getting as if it's time to start pressing on, and you're right, Amberg sat back, saved a little bit of tyre, here he comes, and the other thing is, remember Cote lost spots early. Now he's starting to get underneath people, and he saved that tyre. He's really looking in a strong spot.
And now Darling starting to slip backwards. Might have burned all of his equipment up early on, but Nicholas Combs misses the bottom just a little bit. He's going to just about get into the door, the number 11. So Darling continues to pull clear. Coates still having a good go at it on the outside. And several battles starting to pick up all around the midfield here, as well as Jeffrey Goodpacer just lost a few.
So you might have to slide off a 1 and 2. I'll tell you what, there's a lead group of about 11, then there's a break. And then we get back to Jeremiah Vincent 12th. Kyle Holden's managed to rub his way through to 13th. He's nearly at the front of that second group.
There you see Kyle Holden.
Jason Gracias is 27th at the moment. He sits 13 seconds off the lead. So realistically, he's not done too bad. He should be doing a heck of a lot worse, but I think he's fallen back about as far as he's going to fall at the moment. Now it's just time.
So the comparison between Jeremiah Vincent and Kyle Holden. And Holden's been closing, 2 to 3 tenths of a second a lap. That 59 car's got something working for him in the back pocket, and you can tell how much he's hounding the back of the Napa Auto Parts number 8 as Holden going to be trying to look. No, he's going to go around the outside first off.
I was expecting him, the way that he was pressing on Jeremiah Vincent, it actually looked like he was trying to push him forward and catches the outside fence, but I think he's still going to complete that pass and does so. Drops in. So he was looking to build the momentum and work with Jeremiah Vincent a little bit there, got into 3 and 4, and then recognized that Vincent was a lot slower. So Car's driving very well at the moment. Gets his nose down in underneath. We'll listen to Dalton Powell. Look at the throttle percentages that he was just inputting there. Had to have 3 or 4 goes at it on exit. Left on the way into 3 and 4. Look how long he's out of the gas.
He's trying. You hear the tires sliding as well as he tries to really keep that car in line behind. No use of the brake pedal right now, though. Only lifting going on for the number 60. So we're still not at the point where the brake pedal really being applied all that much.
We'll get the fans watching along at home a little bit of a important update on that one there as well. Those numbers and that's percentages of the pedals, not necessarily accurate, but it gives you a good read of what they're trying to do. I'm pretty sure that's just an on and off, and you can see that. You wouldn't be full throttle in that phase of the corner. So that's, as he's coming on and off, that's just giving you an idea of what they're doing with the throttle, whether they're depressing it more or whether they're coming out of the throttle. That throttle percentage is absolutely not accurate. Do not focus on that statistic.
Yeah, just kind of one of those rough estimates, right? You got to try to figure out what the driver's doing. Because obviously we don't have the live data for that, but we can certainly give her a good estimate. So you can kind of hear as well mid-corner about how much it was kind of lifting in and out, in and out. Oh, side by side for the lead. Amber to the inside of Mello, trying to make the jump, and this force in snuck up on the FTF driver up front.
I was just thinking, is Mello going out a little bit too hard? Like, the fact that Amber just let him go said to me that somebody had pressed too hard early on. I don't know, I didn't, you know, sometimes you can let that driver get away. Mello is mega loose as he comes off a 2. He's rotated the car down the track, but that's created an opening for Ryan Shelton to go around the outside. And that's another car with a bent right in front.
That is going to be Ryan Newman. Big problems for Newman here as he is going to be down and out of this race as there go the race leaders right on by. And what has happened to Newman?
Oh, right front's damaged, so my first guess is big shot the outside wall. Yeah.
Just got wicked sideways off of turn 4, overcorrected, and did a good job to at least get it down and off the racetrack so he wouldn't bring out a yellow.
Tough, very, very tough, very tricky scenario that he's in at the moment as well. So, either way, unfortunately for Ryan Newman, day will be done. But again, we're going to have to focus back. Realistically, with Jason Garcia's in the position that he's in, he's going to need a lot to go his way. But think about Kyle Holden. He sits only 2 spots further back in terms of the points from the bubble. So he does need to make up 12 points on Minardi Major. So Minardi will be just thinking about a top 10 finish. He sits in 10th at the moment. If he does finish 11th or better, there is nothing anyone can do to catch him. And Martin Plute's ahead of him, I believe, as well. So, sorry, Plute was ahead of him. Plute is now down in 15th. So Plute's second run of this race has not gone his way. And Plute's actually managing an incredibly loose race car. The difficulty for Plute is to let Kyle Holden in, he needs to lose 30 spots. So Holden needs to finish inside of the top 10. In fact, Holden, there is no way. Martin Plute is now locked in.
All right.
To Kyle Holden. Jason Garcias would need to win. And Plute would need to DNF from here.
So Ethan Amberg and Ryan Shelton now will go at it as Shelton takes the lead back away from Ethan Amberg into turn number 1. So Shelton up 6 spots so far, started this race back in 7th. And takes away the lead of this race just shy of the halfway marker. And you see Wesley Dunphy, we thought he was done early today. He has made his way back out onto the racetrack. Might be trying to pick up some last-minute consolation points. Seen another driver dropping out of this race.
15 laps down. And the thing is, with Ryan Newman hard in the barrier as well, there's every opportunity. I do believe that Wesley Dunphy's car is going to still be slightly damaged. Remember, he's on cold tires right now. So he won't have a perfectly clean race car, but it will be very, very close.
Well, certainly a bit less clean now as he just got into the fence out of turn 4 on his out lap. So that's suboptimal, I think is what we would call that in the racing business.
Yeah. The problem for him is cold tires right now. So he's... Oh! Chris Darling just said I'm coming to pit lane.
Interesting. So Potential pit game is being played?
Well, that says they cannot make it. So there's a couple things at play here. Is he going to get things down to pit road speed? I think he did. Yeah, I think he's okay. So there's a couple things at play with this. We've only gone 27 laps on that run. So I was thinking it's mid-30s. Now, this is definitely an undercut shot, but there's a few drivers that are joining him on the lane.
Oh,
the problem...
hold on. Get back to that moment. Stan Hausman was just hit for speed on entry, and I think one car just got hit for unsafe pit entry. That was Terrell Wheeler.
Yeah, so that'll be black flags for the pair of those guys. There's no way that was considered a viable pit lane entry. So Chris Starling, he's looking for the undercut. He's guaranteed not to make it on fuel. We are 44 laps from here. And he's trying to split it up. The problem for Chris Darling is he's now burned through 3 sets of tires. He has 1 set of tires left to him. So if there is another caution flag, after the pit cycle, he is just in a much worse position than everyone else.
So coming out of turn 4, the rest of the field kind of spreading out around the Texas Motor Speedway for the time being. You see Stan Housen and Terrell Wheeler both being held a lap as a result of both of them kind of overshooting pit entry and getting a little bit hot on the entry point. Steph Gibson and Kyle Holder right now in a battle for 9th and 10th. As they'll go side by side down the back straightaway and into turn number 3.
Tell you what, keep an eye on Chris Darling, because at the moment he's in a huge pack of cars, and I think... Oh, in fact, the wreck's going to happen right around him.
Oh, boy. That'll be the caution flag once again, and tough break for Darling. Is that Colton Easterday that got involved as well? It is.
I believe it might have been, yeah. It was. I think Nate Catilla got into it as well. In actual fact, Darling's car is destroyed. His day's done.
Well, good news with Darling. He was already locked in.
Yeah.
So that works out for him, but we'll jump back again, and we'll take a look. So this happened up in turn 3?
Yeah, it did, and it is Colton Easterday and Nate Catilla coming together. The problem is that Colton Easterday would have had a 3-wide call because Chris Darling was on fresh tires to the inside here. It'll be the next lap.
Next lap, okay.
So effectively what's happening is that Chris Darling shoves the nose to the inside 3-wide, which he's on fresh tires. He's got to do something with that fresh rubber. Otherwise, this entire strategy doesn't work.
And try again. That's the aftermath.
But
a little bit early, but this'll do.
Here we go. Yeah, this is perfect. So see, that's Darling there. He's going to swing to the bottom, cross him over. The only car in this situation that's going to get a 3-wide call is going to be Colton Easterday in the middle. Catilla doesn't get a 3-wide call. And he would not have... I mean, he should have known that Darling was in the area and was on fresh tires and probably should have been a little bit more circumspect, but his spotter never would have triggered a 3-wide call there. And that's why he turned into the corner as if he was too wide with somebody, which is what triggers that incident.
That's a tough break. I mean, that's a pretty hard crash up into the turn 3 wall. But you can't predict what you're not expecting, right?
I think, in fairness, he should have been expecting that, though.
Well, that collects a couple, and nobody... I don't believe anybody we were really keeping an eye on for the championship. I mean, Christopher Darling already locked into the points weeks ago, so it's not like he's got anything to worry about.
Jason Gracias is counting his lucky stars for that caution, though. He needed that.
I don't doubt it. Well,
fun facts. With the lower fuel burn, because of the tire wear, he actually might have been in a window where he might have made it on fuel.
How about that? We're past the halfway point, so we'll give a shout out to the other folks that keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series Season 4, brought to you by Beer Street Journal, one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and the advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles, millions of unique visitors, and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal is paving the way to enabling category growth, engaging a broader consumer base, and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. BeerStreetJournal.com, the best in beer. And by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Plute has a solid punch of sweet and a heat flavor that lingers to let you know it's there. Marty Blue is an award-winning Steak Cook-Off Association chef and has finally revealed his secret resting rub to blow you away with flavor. Steak veggies, fish, pork, and poultry. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a rub above the rest. Other sponsors include Sim Wrap Market, Race Wrap Guy, Brooks the Native Hospital, and Highline Diecast Collectibles, where a passion for racing meets quality perfection. Collectible perfection. I'm sure it's quality, though, as well.
I tell you what, the other part I made was calling a dirt series last night for Oceanic Dirt Sim events, and Simrack Market, also one of the sponsors over there. Well, Nolan, that's a wrap. I really, really want them to pick that up, because if they don't, I will be very disappointed. How it's not a part of their advertising material. Yeah.
It'd be good for a end of broadcast sponsory too.
Yeah. You can even be the caution sponsor, and anytime a car leaves the server as a result of caution, that's a wrap on their day.
Well, that's added insult to injury at that point. I love it.
Race fans, yes, this is what we do. And in our spare time is think up funny things to go along with all of our sponsors. It is the art of language, ladies and gents.
Past the halfway point in this race. Green flag coming out this time by, once again, in the hands of Ryan Shelton. Green flag up in the air with 38 laps to go.
So the critical drivers to keep your eyes on at the moment, there are 3 of them that are left in potential contention. Manazzi Major has the spot inside of the playoffs. He would need to finish somewhere around 15th, and Kyle Holden would need to be right up at the podium. Same for Jason Garcia. So they've got to do a lot to overcome him. So it's all down to Manazzi Major in this race here today.
Back into turn numbers 3 and 4. Justin Mello, Kyle Holden, Andrew Eisenman. Make that Philip Scott, sorry. Going to be side by side down low. There's Reisman down in the tail of the field. He almost caught the outside wall coming out of turn 4 that time by. Now he looks to fend off Joey Barrett. But for the most part, once again, full center getting away like holy cow. I mean, he's just taken off. Like every race leader has so far tonight. I was looking for an analogy, and I had one, and then I really sounded stupid, and I immediately lost it. Chelsea's taken off there.
Would you say that the analogy ran away from you, much like our leader?
I'm going to fire you after that one. I don't like that. You one-up me. You can't one-up me like that.
You set it up. I just knocked him down.
You attack me in my moment of weakness with that.
That's what car racing's about, baby. You make a mistake, I'm going to attack you in your moment of weakness, too. We doubled down on it, Noel. We doubled up.
Well, one driver that doesn't have a lot of mistakes under his belt this race so far, Ryan Shelton. Again, 6.5 tenths clear already. The battle for second remains between Ionoshu, Amberg, Mello, and Holden. So second through 5th under a blanket, and right now the main man to watch again with that last spot in so far. That's a major running at a very solid 8th, and unless he can be usurped from the top 10, not a lot's gonna be able to stop him from taking that final spot.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the big threat is Gracias, just with the mistakes that he's made. Gracias is actually now in a really unique position. He's the only car in the field that's in this position, and whilst it was a mistake to not take tires of that first caution, should another caution come here in about 10 laps time, the entire field's in a little bit of a hole, whereas Jason Gracias can just go, yeah, I'm absolutely coming down for fresh tires. Why? Because he made the mistake, he's got 1 extra set of tires on the field. That's a rough decision. 18 laps tires is a fair bit of wear, but he survived, he stayed on the lead lap, and now he's on the recovery path. If he can power move this, he's in a great spot.
Holy cow, Justin Mello's caught Ryan Shelton out of nowhere, set the fast lap of the race last time by, and now to the inside of Shelton. Where the heck did Mello come from? Immediately blast past the Bakari Sweat number 99, and Mello back to the point.
Problem is, he's been really rough on those tires, firing out very quick, high speed, high impact from Justin Malolo, but can he hang on to it? The problem so far is that he's had about 10 laps worth of advantage because the tires start to fall off very shortly in the run.
Big crash, turn 4, oh boy! One up into the air, Totilla takes flight as he got ran over, I think, by Arabia Kate, and the caution is out.
Well, Remember how I said there's a unique window that's coming our way? This could be the time slot for Jason Garcias to take it. By the way, in terms of fuel, we're 32 laps to the end of the race here. This could be the fuel window, and if the entire field's going to come to pit lane and Jason Garcias opts to take tires as well, he's going to be in a great spot.
We'll take a look back at what happened to Ben Mashburn and more. This was coming back around into turn... oh my goodness, I just kind of got run over, didn't he? Back that up again. Maybe not. So he's clear. Barrett kind of stuffs it in. That's a tough one.
He misses the bottom.
Yeah.
That's a pretty confident outside line. So to be perfectly honest with the 23 machine, I'm not too upset with the line that he's running there. I really think that's on the car that's below him that missed the bottom. Was that Joey Barrett, I think?
Yeah, it was. And you saw Cotilla just shoot into the air there. Violent crash with the number 5 as got hit up the backside, and just that speed. Oh boy.
So there's just nowhere to go.
It's wild how high that car got into the air as well.
I think it was tire on tire contact, which is what shot him up that high.
That would explain it. As big time into the outside wall, and then here comes the 5, plows into the 23, and then right there, Caton hit the underside and could easily drive underneath that car.
Well, Nolan, we actually missed a really, really important window right there whilst we were having a look at these replays. About half the field came to pit lane.
So half the field comes in. You see everybody else kind of on their way out. Several drivers still stuck in pit road for service. So Jeffrey Reed still down in pit road. So is Arabia Caton, Tim Branson, and more. As you see them starting to make their way out of pit road along with Tim Branson. Zach Williams is out as well.
I'm a little curious about what Jason Garcias did in terms of tires there. I think he actually has taken 4 tires on that stop. Jason Shu, I think, joins him. I think everyone else behind him that came to the pit lane actually came for repairs as well.
So right now, you mentioned about half the field coming down to pit road. The furthest driver, I'm kind of looking around. Goodpacer didn't come down, but he was in for only 9 seconds. That tells me it was fuel only.
That was the last caution. That was the last caution for him.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is actually Jason Garcias who is the lead driver. And I think Jason Shu's on the same strategy, whereby he's taking tires there. When you have a look, their pit stop times match everyone's pit stop times from the most recent caution, and they definitely all took tires then. So that's a 4 tire stop. So remember how I was saying that this is his window? He's got himself a 10 lap offset in terms of tires right here. This is a really good opportunity to not only drive to the front, but the other thing is he's got to measure his pace along the way, because if this becomes a fuel race, he's the first car that can make it. And if the entire field has to pit, they're not going to wait for forever to come to the pit road. So he's going to save all that fuel at the front of the stint and also try and grab track position.
Pace car is off, and we will go back to green flag racing, this time by Justin Melano. Takes off at the head of the pack. Clears just barely across the nose of Philip Scott. Ryan Shelton down low as well, and now we'll see who's going to be able to run down that 53 car. So far, the punchy openings from Mello in these stints, it's really paid off for him thus far.
Yeah, good track position. He's in control. Much better restart and control the field this time by. It'd be interesting to see what Kyle Holden likes to do in terms of how aggressive he gets as well.
I think whatever Kyle Holden does could very well dictate a good chunk this race from here, as the 59 entry going to continue to make that move around the outside of Philip Scott, clears him for the 3rd place position. So good move there for Kyle Holden. as he drives her in down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. Now around the outside of Shelton. So up high towards the outside wall, and Holden's on the move. He's up to second. Now half a second between him and Justin Miller. But here comes Philip Scott looking 3 wide for the inside.
I think Ryan Shelton's still in tire conservation mode, and all of these guys were sitting back, and somebody's just gone, you know what? If they're going to sit back and save tires, I'm going to grab a couple spots, then I'm going to save my tires. I think that's what's going on at the moment, and this all protects Malillo, because if you see Malillo this run, he's not driving off into the sunset. He's actually being a lot more measured with how hard he's driving. Clear air is helping massively, but yeah, he's not driving in the sunset. The other thing is, remember, there is now a tire offset. So if he was punchy in the first pass of that previous run, well, he's lost that time advantage that he would have gained. So this time by, he's got less tire to work with.
Last lap by, Kyle Holden gained almost 3/10 of a second on Mello, and this time going to gain even more within 1/10 of a second as they cross the start-finish line this time by. For lap number 65 at the stripe, it's another almost 10th-and-a-half gain there, and I think now Kyle Holden looking high, trying to find a way through with 25 to go.
I think he's looking for fresh air. That's got nothing to do with looking for the lead. And he's just trying to just be there, be harassed, not overdrive the car at the moment. Phil Scott's going to give him a little bit of hurry up, though, if he connects. But the problem with Scott is that he can't get too close. So apologies for the dog barking. She's quite placid, loves listening to the dulcet tones. Apparently she's upset with your commentary today.
Sorry?
The dog. Did you not hear the dog barking?
I did not. I heard a collar jingle.
Well, yeah, that would be her collar. She was running off to bark.
Oh,
I'm very upset with the way that you've been commentating. She said to work on it, Nolan. There you go. You're getting advice from a dog today.
Well, it's not the only dog, apparently. My dog always has opinions of me as well near the end of our races. He gets mad that I disturb his nap time with this stuff. Up around the outside is Kyle Holden. Had a thing for the lead that time by, but gets loose in turn 2 and is forced to back out of it.
No, again, that's Holden just looking for the avenue. So you can definitely see Malillo's starting to aisle. And issues down towards the tail end of the field?
Yeah, Joey Barrett just having a bit of a moment there. We'll take a look back at this one coming off of turn number 2 here. Watch the 29 car. Going to step out a little bit as we come off of turn number 2 to the back straightaway. Oh boy, cleared the nose and got into a serious daze. That is a mighty fine save they both had, though.
Yeah, great job. Again, cars are loose. I'm just watching. Remember how I said Jason Garcia? I'm pretty sure he took tires. He's loose again. He is wicked loose. And Barrett actually just apologized to Sidarius as well. So again, sportsmanship being observed.
Fights on for the 4th place spot. Ryan Shelton and Cosmo 9 Oshu going at it side by side. Shelton makes the move. Kyle or Cosmozar gets into the back of him though as they come out round 1 and 2. Opens up the door for Amber to go around the outside for the top 5.
I'm just keeping up an eye on Goodpaster and Gracias as well. Gracias is not making any real ground on that fresh rubber, so I think there is a strong chance he might just be in fuel conservation mode. They are shifting around this racetrack as well. Down to 4th gear in 1 and 2. Guess where you go back up to 5th gear? It's actually only on the front straightaway, so you're not in 5th gear for a very long period of time.
That makes sense, though, right? Turns 3 and 4, much higher speed, much higher bang. 1 and 2, you have to back off so much more into these corners. It makes it a struggle to deal with. And Gear 5 comes in handy in that quantum when you need a little bit of extra oomph getting into the braking zone.
Are in the barrier on the front straight. I believe Goodpaster just got it, and I think Gareth Austin was exceptionally loose as well. So good battling in, back, and around there. Kyle Holden's starting to fall off a little bit because Malillo's just been able to cover it, and Phil Scott gets the preferred groove on the bottom.
So the battle for 2nd place remains hot. Oh, boy. I'm worried about this battle for 4th. I feel like these guys are like seconds away from taking each other out here. I mean, this has been an aggressive dogfight for 4th on down.
Yeah, they've got to be a little, like, I mean, the thing is, 18 laps to go. Can they make it on fuel is the big question. Remember, Chris Darling, 27 laps before he abandoned that idea and came to the pit lane. We're 5 laps away from that marker. That says to me, we're coming in on that fuel window. But the fact that so few cars came previously says that they can go a fairly long way in terms of the fuel. Darling was looking for the undercut. If that was a fuel window, or that caution was a lot closer to a fuel window, then we would have actually seen more of the field pit. So this is an exceptionally long way to go on fuel. They may be good. It may have just been tires only. Oh boy! Oh, Garcias has just had contact. His day's gonna be done. He just had contact with Garrett Austin.
Big trouble for Jason Garcias here, as he is going to start to tumble a bit further down the field. And we'll watch it from behind. Drew Eisenman into turn number 1, and this is Garcias trying to just hang on. Oh, there's Eisenman, and there's Garcias up and hard into the outside wall.
Yeah, just timing. That's just really, really poor timing. That's probably enough to kill any chance that Garcias actually had in this one.
He's not over yet, but it's going to be a tall order to recover from that, especially with only 15 laps to go now.
And all of that stems back to a mistake on pit road. Electing not to take tires. And fans watching along at home, how do you do that? Very, very easily. The thing is, when you've got a crew, well, the differences between NASCAR and us is that you're doing everything on your own here. Occasionally you might get the help of a spotter. You might be helping, but there's only an iRacing spotter or an AI spotter outside, or potentially a person if somebody can assist you with their time. But if they're generally in and around, they want to be racing, they want to be out there having fun on their own. So groups of drivers will sit in Discord and communicate with each other to call out wrecks as they happen. But in terms of the strategy and the crew chiefs, it's literally down to the guy behind the wheel to not only be managing the strategy, but also setting the pit stop up. There is checkboxes, so it's that simple. It's not as if he's got to run out there, he's got to change all 4 tires on his own, or even set the tire pressures or anything like that. But he has to make the decision, and Carl Holden's now loose as well, overdriven those tires.
Yeah, no kidding. Overdriving them by a big margin. Cosmo Inosha gets down to the inside, and a short work of that 59 entry. Yeah, that's the hazard, right? That's one of the big trade-offs of sim racing compared to the real world, right? You don't have anybody to make those calls for you, and you got to kind of just get a feel for your car. Fights on for the lead as Philip Scott has once again caught Justin Mello with Ryan Shelton in tow.
Yeah, but Ryan Shelton's been sitting back and he's been saving tires rather than pressing on and trying to harass these guys, and that actually might have been the way to go. We've got ourselves 12 laps left to run, and his tires are coming good. The biggest issue right now is that Shelton sat back, he's watched, he's waited, he's put himself in a great position. He doesn't want a caution to fly. He wants to wait a little bit longer. He wants to get this pass complete, nose ahead as he enters 3.
Going to be going on ahead, trying to make the pass. I think something might have just happened to Drew Eisman. We'll look at that in just a moment. But for now, the fight's on for the lead. With now 11 laps on the boards, and to the inside, Mello still trying to fight him off up high. Shelton, can he clear this time? Out of turn 2. Yes, he does. Just barely gets ahead of the 53.
Yeah, Melillo was nearly there to take that one away. Garcias has just hit the barrier very hard. Contact with Jason's shoe as well.
And that will bring out another yellow flag. So that's what, third caution of the night now. And this is starting to get interesting.
Jason Melillo on the radio. Couldn't have happened 1 lap earlier, could it? Remember what I said?
No, it could not have.
Ryan Shelton wanted it to wait a little bit longer. It waited the perfect amount of time he gets back out there. But the critical factor is that eliminates Garcias now. There is no way that Garcias will transfer into the playoff spots. For Carl Holden, he needs something to happen to Minazzi Major. He needs him to have a slide. Minazzi's just going to run clean. Minazzi can now give up a good 5 to 8 spots and still be comfortable. Yeah, big shot.
One of the hardest hits of the race so far. That was enough to kick the whole car off the ground.
The car is violently loose here today. And the problem is it's spin bite.
Yeah.
So you overcorrect very quickly. So you can see, tiny little snap, he slightly overcorrects and the car just bites.
And again, you see just how vicious of an impact that was up into the outside wall. Look at how high this car gets from that impact, all four wheels. And again, 3,400 pounds these cars weigh. For a car to lift up like that really puts in perspective how hard of a shot it was.
Yeah, violent contact. Does Murillo use that number one stop? Martin Plute!
Fuel only for the 81.
No, that's not going to work out.
It's a...
Where was he?
The ball strategy, Cotton.
He was 16th, so that actually might work out.
Maybe.
Well, Martin Plute, no, that won't work out at all. He spent 30 laps on those tires. This will not work out.
This is on board with Jason Shu, the driver that got caught up in this. Just nothing he could have done there. You're racing these cars around like what, 150, 160 there coming off of that corner, and they'll get you.
But the thing is, for Garcias, is that that car had the tiniest little moment, and he went to ride it out, and it didn't want to ride.
That's the thing with these cars, right? Is it's so easy to snap on you like that. It's so difficult to get a handle on once it does start to go around to the track like this. I mean, you look at the trucks, the Xfinity cars, even ARC cars, you can have a pretty wild save, but in these cars, you're either losing or it bites. There's no saving it when you get to that situation.
For Jason, he actually took a big shank at the wheel to save it. When you're saving these cars, you got to be gentle on the steering wheel. He swung that wheel very hefty. The reason why it bit was he just drove that. He threw so much wheel in it.
Well, the field doubled up. 7 laps to go. And what do you think? Do we use overtime in this, or do we run this out? It's a real wheel, by the way. Black flag. Not sure what for.
Oh, no. Well, here we go. Look, I'm going to be honest. I think we go green. I don't think we need the overtime. I think we're okay.
We've had a lot of good runs. I have faith.
Holden needs to get to the point, and he needs something to happen in Minardi Major. If that happens, he's in. But he's relying on Minardi to have an issue. So.
Oh wow!
It might have just happened, but it's happened to Kyle Holden as well.
Oh, Minardi Major's involved. Major's involved. This is critical for the championship. Dalton Powell. Oh my goodness. What does this do to our championship? Multiple cars with black flags. Powell and Wheeler among them. Kyle Holden toes. Does that leave it in the hands of Major?
Yeah, no, there's nothing that can happen now. There is no one who is... Phil Scott is 29 points behind. There's not enough cars left in the race for Minardi Major to fall outside of contention, but he was in it.
Oh, Cosman spun the wheels, and then Kyle Holden, he clipped the grass.
He got the grass, yeah.
Back in the stand, Hausman, Fireback caught the 97 and the 82. Amberg involved, Austin involved. Days spins into the infield. Look at Arabia Caton. Oh, he just got nicked. Did everything he could to try to escape that down low. Boy.
Gee whiz, look at them all scatter.
I mean, this, again, we talked about this at Darlington, right? The reason why those restart wrecks get to be that big is because you're just not expecting it.
Yeah, Darlington's a little bit different. Somebody spins the tires, that's touching the edge. Gee whiz. The problem is Kyle just violently straight across to the right in front of the field.
Oh, and there was another hard hit there with the 97 getting caught up again. I want to know why Dalton Powell got a black flag. Did he jump the start? Is that what they're saying?
No, passing to the inside, but it's because of the wreck.
Sure, that's got to get cleared then.
Maybe. We're waiting on it. Okay, confirmed they're going to get cleared here. So
Okay.
Dalton Powell and Tara will both be okay.
And you see it clear as well from 7th place on the timing boards. So I think that's the right call. You should have been penalized for avoiding an incident that's blocking half the track.
Sure, but at the same time, they're going to sort of assess it nice and quickly. And the other thing is, you don't want to just be clearing penalties willy-nilly. So...
Well, there's one league that I used to run with where they would clear penalties like that, but if it came out you were lying about it, you're getting disqualified. So it was a heavy dissuasion for drivers trying to,
game the system.
yeah, cow manure their way through an incident. Everybody here is don't really have any bad apples in the Speed Cup Series either. I don't think anybody here would have used that.
No, I mean...
Do you want to call anybody out?
No, I'm not calling anyone out in particular, but they're race car drivers, man. The thing is about race car drivers is at the end of the day, sometimes they just... they want to, run it as best they possibly can.
Well, we didn't run it out, but we didn't get overtime either. So I guess a happy medium to my question?
Yeah, so we're going to get 4 to go. We're going to be going back green with 3 to go, so a green, white, check it.
And one more forces this race into extras.
Does. We got 2 here tonight. I went back. Remember how I was checking just to double check that cautions were. I mean, here's the thing: we've all been in and around a league where the people setting it up have just made that one mistake one time, where they just forget to enable cautions. It's happened. We've all seen it. It's accidental. It's not intentional. But with that wreck earlier on, I was like, man, I've got to check that. I got to check if that was the case because it happens. It happens from time to time. But conveniently, I know there's 2 green white checkers now. So.
Oh, there we go. Well, I mean, we knew that. I knew that already.
Okay. Well, I checked the entry page. I didn't know. Okay, you got 1 back. Are you happy now?
I'm very happy now. Your job is safe. We have one up to each other. We've evened the score.
My job is safe because good luck finding somebody else who's this funny to hang out with, Noel.
You're not wrong. Well, Derek Watson's pretty funny.
Oh boy, here we go. Back to green flag racing. Focus on the racing.
Green flag up in the air this time by 3 laps the distance. Martin Plume way out in front, but he is on fuel only. Now, though, there's a chance he's going to hang on because he's only got to do it for 3 laps.
Well, the thing is, remember, he came into the pits 16th. So long as he doesn't fall that far back, this is an overall win, and everyone's on cold tires. They didn't get the opportunity to get the tires up to temperature. Here comes Phil Scott. He's going to show the lows to Molo.
Boy, huge divvy up in the field as nobody really got going after that incident. Ryan Shelton trying to run down Plout. He's only just now got fully up to speed. So out of turn number 4, 2 laps to go. One of the drivers dropping back big time is Arabia King with not a lot of speed. He's about to be run over here by Terrell Wheeler, going to get nice and out of the way. I think that crash did a lot more damage to drivers in this field than people would like to admit.
There is one driver who's just rejoined the racing circuit. Dave Harrington is going to be out there. We will get the light when we get back to the start-finish line of this time by. At the moment, Plout leads, but he knows that his time in front is numbered. Will he block? Will he get defensive? And how does Shelton deal with him? Tries to cross him over, gets to the inside. There's a nose down there, but it's a narrow entry to 1.
Shelton with the fastest lap of the race there in the turn numbers 1 and 2. Does Plout have an answer for him down the back straightaway? He's gonna have the draft, but it's gonna be a big ask into turn number 3. Martin Plout will come around into turn numbers 3 and 4. Won't be able to get back to him. Ryan Shelton off of the final corner and coming down to the stripe. Ryan Shelton wins the regular season finale at Texas.
What a race, though. That had a little bit of everything. That had spice and then really critical as the final few drivers can feed their way. Whoa, wrecking across the line as well.
Joey Barrett gets something into the fence, and that will put us to a close this afternoon. Boy, what a wild race. And how about that for Martin Plouffe? Biggest gainer of the day.
Yeah, deserves it as well. That was a risky call. We said it wouldn't play out. The thing is, he needed 3 laps to be run down, and look, if that was a green-white checker, Plouffe wins it. But Shelton, the big thing from Shelton here, he had to switch the car on in that final run. Remember, right there, he was one of the better drivers on long run speed. Didn't necessarily have the short run. He went out and he found it. And the thing is, if you're gonna win races and you're good on tires, occasionally you gotta have that speed. You gotta have all the tools in the toolbox. And I think from Shelton tonight, that's what he showed, was that he was good on the long run, and then he had to go and earn it on the short run. Did so, and did it in style.
Yes, sir, he did. And he's going to burn it down. A proud and happy camper on the front straightaway. Martin Plouffe, 33 spots gained of the afternoon. Other big movers included Jeffrey Reed, Tim Branson, Darius Hayes, and Terrell Wheeler, all up well over 10 spots on the afternoon. Some big movers and some big losers in this one. I think the biggest winner, though, in this one, Munatsi Major, who kind of lucked out with that incident there. Was able to come home and secure that final transfer spot into the chase.
Yeah, and it all come down to Munatsi Major. I mean, he finished out of 16th. So the incident that Kyle Holden and Jason Gracias were counting on did happen, but unfortunately, it happened to them before it happened to Major. And you got to be in it to win it. Mistakes from both of those drivers tonight. That's the real reason they couldn't transfer. I think Gracias was there and thereabouts. We were actually going to see, I reckon, on track, all 3 of those drivers were scheduled to finish right in and around each other. So, it's a little bit of a disappointment that it didn't finish that way, but it is what it is.
It is what it is indeed. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon. As coming home this afternoon, it is Ryan Shelton taking another race win. Martin Plouffe comes home second this afternoon ahead of Justin Mello. Cosmo Inoshu will be down in the number 4 spot alongside Nicholas Colt, with Philip Scott back in 6th, Dalton Powell in 7th, Jeremiah Vincent, Ethan Amberg, and Jeffrey Goodpaster round out the top 10.
Outside the 10, 11th on back, Garrett Austin had a loose car at one point, manages to keep it alive to finish in 11th. Joey Barrett, Sedarius Days, Jeffrey Reed, Drew Eiserman, Munatsi Major, and the last driver in the lead lap was Arabia Caton III. Terrell Wheeler, Tim Branson, and Stan Hausman, the drivers 1 lap down.
From there, Dave Harrington was 2 down. Gibson was 3 down. We're entering drivers that did not finish this race, including Kyle Holden, along with Jason Shue, Jason Gracias, Wesley Dunphy, Ben Mashburn, Zach Williams, Nate Cotilla, and Colton Easterday.
Finally, the drivers that were eliminated a lot earlier on, Christopher Darling went for the undercut strategy, did not play out for him. Ryan Newman, Caleb Bass, one of the early exits, Jeremy Richmond, 10 laps into this one, drivers not taking the start, Austin Habel, Devin Pirog, and Chris Sawyer.
And that is going to do it this afternoon. A wild race that we had in this one. And we'll look to give a chit-chat, of course, to the drivers here that I'll bring it home on a pretty wild afternoon, all things considered. And we'll look to talk first and foremost with Ryan Shelton. Man, that comes home number 1 this afternoon for the Vincent Motorsports crew in the Pocari Sweat, number 99. We'll bring him up here. Ryan, it was a wild race all throughout. You were able to take home yet another win of your Speed Cup Series career. This one, though, came with a bit of an unexpected last lap battle with Martin Plouffe going into turn 1. Talk us through it.
Yeah, that was quite the experience. I thought we were going to be just fine, get this race over with, heading to the playoffs, and it was going to be an easy win. I had a big gap between me and the next guy with good tires. It seemed like everybody who was up front there on that last long run really burnt their stuff up. And then the yellow came out, and I was really scared because Justin is fast on the short runs especially. And Plouffe had taken 2 tires, and I knew that if we got short runs, one of them were going to win, and I didn't think I had a shot. And got a good start. I was able to get in front of Justin going into turn 1 there off the restart, and then it was just Plouffe hit the wall, and I don't think his 2 tires plus the damage helped him out at all, and it just was a little too late, and I just had to make a desperate dive bomb into 1, knowing that points reset after today. So luckily it stuck and we didn't wreck or anything. So overall it was a really fun race. Wish we would have had a little bit more long run, but it is, we'll take the win how we get it.
Yeah, it's a win at the end of the day for sure. You were well locked in, I mean, weeks ago into the chase here this afternoon. But today, the points get reset, and you were second at the end of the regular series season. How do you reckon your odds are going to shake up when we get down to this 5-race chase to close things out?
I'm hopeful, that all the bonus points I racked up through the season um, will help out. But Kansas has never been a good track for me. North Wilkesboro has never been a good track for me. Um, and Charlotte and Michigan are sort of wild card races. So there's going to be a lot of testing, a lot of practice, and try to get fast at these races because I know Plute especially is really fast at Kansas. And then you've got the rest of the field. I mean, you got Cosme, you got Justin, you got Phillip, you had Holden last night or tonight. Was unfortunate in his chance to get into the playoffs, but he's really, really fast too. He'll be the playoff spoiler for these next 5 races. So hopefully we get to finally get it. 2 years of struggle to get this thing, and hopefully this is the year.
Still 5 weeks of racing to go. We'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing next week. Congratulations on the race win, and well, we'll see you when we duke it out in Kansas.
All right, see you there.
Ryan Shelton comes home number 1 this afternoon, and that will bring out the hard charge of the race. Martin Plute, plus 33 spots on the day. He stands by with Scott Rankin.
One big risk at the end race strategy, but you get a caution near on immediately, and all of a sudden you feel 10 times more confident. I get the feeling that one was like, hey man, we're going to finish about 16th spot or anything. Anyway, let's just throw something at this. Let's have some fun with the end of this race. Brave call, though.
Yeah, no, it worked out better than I thought it would. Yeah, you're dead right. I was going to finish, 12th to 16th, somewhere in there, and figured 2 tires, try something different, and it worked out.
Just about that restart there and the 2 tires. Man, I never have enough. Personally, I never have the bravery to step on 2 tires because I've never practiced it. I've never put enough time into it. What was the actual balance trending like? Because you had such a loose race car. That left rear, I'm assuming you took right side, so left rear tire would have been wearing quite a lot with how loose the car was and the track temp. The conditions today were just not conducive to saving tires.
Yeah, you're right. The balance actually was really good. It was definitely slower, obviously, than Ryan and Justin and Phillip and everybody. But it didn't feel like it was going to spin out like I thought it would. I'll be honest, I didn't know what it was going to do when I drove into turn 1. I was like, well, we'll figure it out when we get there. And it wasn't loose, it wasn't tight. It felt fine. It was just slow. So wasn't too bad.
Mate, literally 1 lap the difference between P1 and P2, but hey, you'll be very, very confident in that one. Locked yourself into the playoffs here tonight as well. It was going to take I'm assuming it was a race of 2 halves, really. The first half of the race was, okay, all we have to do is pretty much finish inside the top 25 and we are locked in. So was that the first box you were trying to tick?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. Just trying to go out there and keep all 4 fenders on it. Missing qualifying. I spun through the front grass in qualifying, so I started in the back and just wanted to stay out of trouble. Figured I'd try something in strategy at the end, and it all played out a little bit better than you could have planned it, really.
Sometimes it's good to be talented, other times it's good to be lucky. Who would you like to give a thank you to getting this one done for you tonight?
Oh, well, thank you guys for coming out and broadcasting. Thanks for everybody who running the league. I want to thank Ryan for running me clean there. I guess he could have pushed me up the track when I was blocking into one, and he didn't. So I appreciate that from him.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Martin. Congratulations on P2 and getting the hard charger here tonight as well. Go off and enjoy it with the boys.
All right, thanks, guys. See you later.
And finally, finishing out a 3rd spot here tonight, Noah Rempel is going to be standing on the side for the driver that led a significant chunk of tonight's race, the 53 of Justin Malillo.
Justin, a solid 3rd place this afternoon. Not the win you were hoping for when you started this race on pole, but all things considered, I don't think I ever saw you drop below 5th or 6th place all night long. Considering some of the excitement we had throughout the middle portion of this race, that's not a bad feat, and you walk away with a solid 3rd place at the end of the night.
I'm trying to take away the positives of everything. Got my first career pole position tonight and led most laps. It really does sting that we got the caution. If we would have gotten that caution one lap before Ryan passed me there, I think I could have beat him out of the pits, and maybe it might have been a little bit different. Maybe the ball would have been put in my court. I could have taken the 2-tire strategy like Martin did there, and I think I could have made that work either way. I'm going to be kicking myself a little bit for this one because this one does feel like one that got away. I couldn't save tires worth anything, though, which is, just the way I drive. But you know what? I'm going to take this as a net positive. I had a blast out there either way. Third place, third podium of the season, heading into the playoffs with some momentum. I'll take it, but I'm gonna be kicking myself a little bit.
Well, I think the fact that you did get yourself fully into the chase is going to be I think that's the best silver line you could hope for, right? I mean, now we get to reset, we get to look forward to the next 5 weeks. You were finishing this championship, I believe, kind of around the 5th place spot as they stood. At least you were 5th entering tonight. It might be even a bit further up as a result of this 3rd place, but Kansas is the first race up. It's a wild chase schedule we got ahead of us here for 5 races. No more eliminations. Everything is just straight shot from here to the end. How do you think you're going to handle it for the FTF.GG, Camry?
I think it'll be fun. I'm not really setting any expectations going in. I just want to do the absolute best I can like I did tonight. I want to have fun like I did tonight. I want to compete for wins like I did tonight and last week. No matter where I end up at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to me. I just want to have a good time. And like I've said, every time I've been in this booth with you guys, I always leave these Thursday night Speed Cup Series racing, anytime I come here, I'm always leaving with a smile on my face, no matter where I finish. So just going to continue that going forward and see how good we can do.
All right, well, wish you the best of luck at Kansas. Congratulations on 3rd, and we'll see you next week, Justin.
Thank you.
Justin Mello comes home 3rd at the end of the night. And Scott, that takes us to the close of the regular series season here in this one. Boy, a wild season we've had so far, and you could say it's only getting started, right? 5 races remain, and it's going to be a straight shot from here to season's end.
I think it's really interesting, actually, as well, because we've only been here for a couple of rounds. I mean, you've been here a little bit longer than I have. Unfortunately, life's just gotten a little bit in the way for me. But the big thing is, moving forward, is that all of that gets reset. All of a sudden, we know the big protagonists. And the other thing I think that you mentioned in the middle of all of that as well is you're 100% right in terms of overall championship standings. Malello does actually move up a spot on Christopher Darling. Remember the issues that he had, pit too early, got trapped in that incident. Nothing he could really do about that one. So a little bit of a shake up at the tail end of things, but yeah, big reset, big opportunity. We've got a mix of tracks coming our way as well. I think North Wilkesboro is going to be, that is going to be such an interesting race. Yeah, I cannot predict what's going to happen there.
I mean, North Wilkesboro is not the only one, right? I mean, you got North Wilkesboro, Kansas, Charlotte, Nashville. Michigan is the finale, is going to be a wild one. These guys had one hell of a finish last time they were out there, and no doubt it's going to be one heck of a season finale as well. Before we get to the chase season for the Speed Cup Series, we've still got more action coming on up on Green Flag TV. Tomorrow night, the SRA NASCAR Classic Series takes the Auto Club Speedway for 100 laps around the defunct racetrack in Fontana. On Sunday, it's ASRL and Blazing Pedals going back-to-back on Sunday night with the High Time Racing Garden Premier Series taken to the Darlington Raceway. Over on Monday night. On Wednesday, the Beer League takes us to our first ever race at Portland International Raceway on Green Flag TV. And that would then swing us around to the Speed Cup Series. As well as the chase starting off, one championship draws to a close as 2 teammates go head-to-head in a literal dead tie all-out drag race. Winner takes all grudge match for the Ole Miss World Cup Series finale at Auto Club. That will be coming at you on Tuesday afternoon. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today on www.greenflagtv.com. As always, my name is Lola Rempel, joined tonight alongside Scott Rankin. Thank you all so much for joining us for more thrilling Thursday night action Playoff season ready to kick off. We'll see you all next week when we go racing over in Kansas.